Hey guys, this is Curtis. Welcome to my my video of Plague Incorporated Evolved. We'll be talking today about Ebola. Ebola is a virus that from the family Filoviridae. I think I'm pronouncing that right. It is a virus known for hemorrhagic disease, which is bleeding profusely. I can't speak. A virus, for those of you who are new to this sort of thing, is a protein, basically. It's a DNA strand that's wrapped in protein and then covered in lipids, which is fat, to protect itself. It can only live in living organisms, so animals, plants, things of that nature. And Ebola is actually a really scary one. It started off in Africa, and so when it was first classified, it was classified as Zaire Ebola virus, which is because of the country of Zaire where it was found. There are actually 5 strands of Ebola virus. The most common, or the one that's mostly seen in the news, is the standard Ebola virus, which is the strand I was just saying, the Zaire Ebola virus. So symptoms of this virus starts off with the standard stuff, the nausea, vomiting, chest pain and cough, something you would get with colds and things like that. But it also leads to severe weight loss. You'll get a lot of stomach pain, a lot of abdominal pain, and towards the end you'll start bleeding. Usually it's from the eyes. Also it can be the ears, the nose, the rectum, which is basically every open orifice where pressure can be let out. And it's obviously it's deadly. But a fun fact, there are actual cases of people being infected by Ebola virus and not having any symptoms whatsoever, or just mild symptoms that would be seen as like your standard cough. So the actual symptoms vary depending on who has it, and I don't know if there's a genetic link to that or anything of that nature. Now, with Plague Incorporated, viruses get extra symptoms. You might start off with coughing and rashes and things like that, which are they're found in this virus, but they're not the main pathway through this game to the hemorrhagic fever and any sort of hemorrhaging. So while they do pop up in the game, I only remove them a little bit, mostly because there's such a wide array of symptoms that I just let it go. And at the points in this game, I really want to try and use it towards getting the actual main symptom that everybody knows about, which costs a few points. So main pathways for Ebola virus are actually through blood-to-blood contact. It's found, a lot of doctors and nurses are affected by it if they're, not taking standard safety precautions. The patient comes in, they've got a bloody nose or something, maybe some bruising, and the doctor gets a little bit of blood on his skin, and maybe he cut himself, shaving, and he goes to scratch his cheek. Well, boom, he's got Ebola. I mean, that's kind of a strange coincidence, but that kind of gives you a general idea of transmission in that aspect. I also added mosquitoes into this one because mosquitoes do bite you. They carry your human blood. Then they get hungry again. They go to another host and dinner, I guess. And when they pierce that second person, there might still be remnants of your blood on their beak, I guess, their needle nose, something like that. So it, yeah, that's how mosquito transmission works, and I figure, you know, the whole blood, the blood channeling would go with that. The other reason why I did that is because this is still a game. It's still something you want to beat, and so I try and stay as faithful to the virus as I can without, you know, getting too completely insane. But if you want to be true to the virus, it's, you know, this game does have a representation. You know, the more people with symptoms, the more people are going to pay attention to what's going on, and so that's how we're able to eradicate viruses or bacteria infections or whatever, really. But anyways, a little bit of history about Ebola. Ebola was first found in 1976 in Zaire, hence Zaire Ebola virus. They believed that it was originally the Marburg virus, a new strain of Marburg, which is part of the same family, Filoviridae. It's a hemorrhagic disease as well, and so that's what they thought. And the reason it was called Ebola was because it was found near the Ebola River in Zaire. So anyways, with the first outbreak in '76, it was actually in a town called Yambuku, I believe. There was a school teacher whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. Came in, had signs of what looked like malaria at the time, which is very common in Africa, and received quinine, which is a malarial drug, or anti-malarial drug, I should say. And the you know, obviously it didn't work, but it spread from there because the hospitals back then really didn't have very good sterilizing procedures. The fact that, you know, the doctors had to be in close contact when talking to the patient, and body fluids from, you know, the body. Well, I won't go into, you know, the big nastiness of it all. You know, that is what was believed to have been the cause of the 1976 outbreak starting. Ebola virus is considered the highest case fatality rating of any of the Ebola viruses. There's actually 4 that deal with disease in humans. But this one, the Zaire Ebola virus, which is now classified as EBVZ or EBOVZ or something of that nature, when they reclassified everything. I'll get into that in a second. That one is the most well known. When the first outbreak hit, there was an 83% chance of fatality, and it went all the way up to 90% in 2001, 2002. There was another outbreak. So there's been, you know, three fairly decent outbreaks since its first occurrence. You know, the last one being the one that's still in the news right now, which has now led to a lot of different pharmacological companies and institutions to create a vaccine for Ebola virus, which you know, given the fact that it was an 83% fatality in '76 and a 90% fatality in early 2000s, they should have been on that shit a lot earlier. Just saying. Anyways, so when the outbreak happened in '76, the first outbreak happened, the doctor who dealt with them, I actually read this earlier when I was researching, and I wrote it down. His name is Ngoy Mashola. He was the doctor that first treated the first case of Ebola. He wrote in his notes that this illness is characterized by high temperature of 39 degrees Celsius, hematemesis, which is throwing up blood, diarrhea with blood, retrosternal abdominal pain, which is pain in the chest, stomach, in that area, prostration with heavy articulations, and rapid evolution death after a means of 3 days, which is, you can figure out. Died 3 days after they got it. That's pretty friggin' rapid. You know, a lot of diseases, the flu and things like that, you can be sick for weeks before, you know, you get over it, obviously. But yeah, so 3 days and you're gone. It's kind of scary. But the fact of the matter is, you know, even though that is a rapidly evolving disease, you know, a lot of the first world countries, I hate to bring up first world versus second world versus third world, which I don't really know what the classification of second world country is, but there's got to be one since there's third world countries. You know, cleanliness is kind of a big thing. The science, the organization, just the overall developed attitude of this, of the different world countries. You know, if you live in a first world country like, you know, the European Union or the U.S. or Canada, Japan, you're a lot less likely to get these diseases because, I mean, unless you're a world traveler, there's already precautions in place. But, you know, the chances that it coming over like it did with any outbreak, you know, that it could happen. But if it does, you know, you've got some of the best care possible. And so if you're from a first world country, I wouldn't worry so much. I mean, it is scary stuff. Sorry, my video kind of glitched. Anyways, it is scary stuff, but the fact of the matter is there's a lot of fear mongering in the news and things like that, and it's part of the reason why I don't watch the news a whole lot. And so I wouldn't worry as much as the news hypes things up. I mean, sure, there are dangers in this world, and there are things that would scare the living crud out of me. But, you know, you have to try and take stuff with a grain of salt. Of course, be informed, but grain of salt. So anyways, if you'll look at the game that I haven't really commented on, you've got the people running back and forth trying to find a cure, but you'll notice the U.S., Australia, Japan, Russia, Europe are mostly clear. I'm not saying people that live in the lower countries are, you know, bad countries. In this case, it, you know, it just happens to be that it's spread that way. But you know, that's first world medicine at work. You know, closing the borders, you know, sealing off areas. That's the smart thing to do, and you know they do it quickly. So in the game, I've actually mutated the virus quite a bit more than what it's supposed to be. But that's, again, mostly just to beat the game. But anyways, the things that you should probably take away from this is that the virus, while deadly, is stoppable. We've done it 3 times now. It's scary, but it's manageable, I think. And the fact that we've got vaccines in the pipeline make things better. Anyways, I hope you guys found this informative. If you like it, then subscribe, and I will hope to see you later. This is Curtis signing out with no eradication. With the human race still intact. Thanks a lot, guys.